What is going on, boys? And I want to welcome you back to Sketch Report. Now, today I've got this piece of Hollow Knight fan art that I like to call a King's Sacrifice, which technically may not be perfectly lore accurate, but we'll get into that later. And of course, I am going to be getting into some, light lore and story spoilers for Hollow Knight as we go through this. But, so to start off with this piece, I had been studying some certain pixel art techniques, such as limited palette and dithering, and I wanted to show those off. And also, another thing is that, well, to start off the project, I did a lot of pencil work, because it's a lot easier to sketch in pencil. I just practiced the designs of both characters, just getting used to their bodies, drawing different poses for them, and after drawing their normal sprites, and I got more comfortable with that, I began to draw them in my own poses, and I practiced poses of both of them kneeling. And then, at that point, once I felt really comfortable with their designs, I actually made a full layout of my plan for the piece. So, yeah, I ended up going with a rough 4:3 vertical aspect ratio, and I actually used real objects that I laid out on a table to model the proportions between them and find out where the horizon line would be and all that good stuff. But, anyways, yeah. So, getting into the speed paint here, first of all, I'm going to point out that, on the left side of the screen there, you can see that's a preview of, the whole canvas. And I fixed it moving around. But, yeah, so I decided to start off with drawing the Hollow Knight, because, he was in the background more, and he's also very detailed, so I figured if I could get him to look right, and be in the right amount of, size for the pixels, then the rest of the piece would come together really well. So that's why I decided to start with him. And, I actually ended up going with a resolution of 120 by 90 to start off, and towards the end of the project, I switched it to 90 by 90, I switched it to 1 by 1, because I ended up feeling like there was too much open and empty space, unused space in the top and bottom of the canvas, so I just made it 1 to 1. But, yeah, right now I'm just working on the Hollow Knight skull, and it's kind of hard to get these shapes right in pixel art sometimes, and that's why sometimes you have to focus more on just the general shape you're getting rather than the super fine details, because it's not getting super fine details is not going to be easy usually. It has to be stuff that's implied. You have to get the most important things to come through, because when I'm working with graphite, it's obviously great, easy layout practice, but it's not very accurate to how you depict pixel art, because sometimes it's more or less detailed. But yeah, as you can see here, I'm just working with some basic grays, all just grayscale colors to fill in stuff as I'm just writing. I'm gonna change the palette a lot later, and I'm pretty sure what I ended up settling on was 8 colors, but I'm not sure. We'll get into that more. And I actually use an interesting technique here for the for laying out the Hollow Knight. I just made a couple squares, which is something I usually don't really do. I usually don't use shapes for layout, but I decided to try it out there, and I ended up changing it quite a bit as I go through. But it was kind of an interesting thing to try, because when you're doing graphite, at least, thinking about the shapes of objects can be really helpful. So I guess maybe it did help there, but yeah, just going through here and getting everything set up. One thing, so I guess I should probably explain a little bit of what I meant by this piece, right? So obviously we're getting into some big spoilers for the story of Hollow Knight, but what I ended up doing was, well, obviously there's the final battle between the Knight and the Hollow Knight, right? And I got the normal ending without Void Heart, so it was just me, no Hornet. And honestly, even after getting pretty much all of the endings, or knowing what all the endings are, I gotta say that ending, just the vessel ending, is probably still my favorite in the game. It's just so powerful. And I still remember the first time I was fighting the Hollow Knight, and just seeing the way he was stabbing himself. It just, I got a basic idea of the story, and that was just really cool. And, yeah, just real quick, I want to just comment, obviously I said I wanted to employ dithering throughout this piece, so I tried it in different places, like on the Knight's Cloak, to get the blue shade in there, but I ended up not, you can see I ended up not really liking it. But I was just kind of experimenting with what I did like, to try out different styles and different looks for stuff. But yeah, anyways, so I just really love that ending. And for me, I kind of interpreted it as more of like, you know, because obviously you're taking on the burden of your sibling by defeating the Hollow Knight and, you know, capturing the Radiance as a vessel, you know, all that. I think that's how the lore goes. But I just thought that, obviously I didn't fully understand what was going on, but I still thought it was really powerful. And I really, really enjoyed it. And for me, I kind of viewed it as like a matter of respect in a way, you know? Like I kind of like this idea of the two vessels, the two siblings, showing respect for each other in their final moments as they pass the burden from one to the other. I just thought that was a really cool idea. So I had been thinking about making this piece for a while. I just finally decided to sit down and do it. And honestly, I like how it turned out. And to address the lore, like, significance of it, so here's the thing. Because there are some slightly confusing dialogue bits in Hollow Knight that make it seem like I didn't really know who the Pale King was when I first played the game through. So I thought that the Hollow Knight himself had been Hollowness/King before you accept the King's brand. So that's kind of where I got the title of a King's Sacrifice. So I guess lore-wise, technically it's more of a sibling sacrifice than anything. But honestly, I still really like... I mean, the title of King's Sacrifice still works because you have the King's brand and you are doing the sacrifice as the knight, you know? So I guess it still works fine. But, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, might not be completely lore accurate, but I still like the title. And I guess a sibling sacrifice does get alliteration points. But, I don't know, tell me down in the comments which title you like better, lore or just sound-wise. I'd be curious. But for now, I'm just calling it a King's Sacrifice because I kind of like it. But, getting into the background stuff here, I kind of... Drawing the boss fight room for the Hollow Knight was kind of hard. Because they're just... I mean, like, there's the gray floor with like, the kind of clock pattern of lines that I put in there, right? I don't know if it's actually a clock. I might be totally off on that. I just kind of did that, but, yeah, obviously I wanted to... This background here was a huge spot for me to show off the dithering techniques I've been working on. Just because, you know, the whole limit... And I wanted to work on the limited palette thing, too. You can make all these different shades... Because I already was using white. I took 2 shades of orange. And with just those 2 shades, you can accomplish a lot of different colors. I mean, I get all the way from really light bubbles up at the top to darker ones, all just using 2 shades. So I think this was a really good way to practice the different dithering techniques I've been working on. And I think it ended up looking really good. I don't think it, even though it's a very bold orange, I don't think it ends up detracting too much from the focus of the piece in the end, just because of the staging. But yeah, as far as actually designing the background of this piece, you know, I obviously looked at screenshots and art of the final boss room, and I kind of focused on just how, you know, when you're actually fighting the Hollow Knight, there's just kind of this orange, like, mist of infection in the back, and I kind of just wanted to go with that. It's just simple and easy. But yeah, I'm just adding the final details here. I did add the like infection guts from the Hollow Knight to show the battle's over. And I did also change the aspect ratio to 1:1 there. And yeah, that's about it on the speed paint part of things, I guess. But yeah, honestly, I really liked this piece. I thought it was super fun to do, and I'm pretty proud of it. I thought it was really cool. So yeah, let me know what you think down below of like the lore significance and my interpretation of the fight. I'd love to hear your own interpretations of the Hollow Knight fight. But yeah, in the meantime, thanks for watching, and I will see you around.